Elio tells the story of a lonely, imaginative, space-obsessed boy who is accidentally transported into the Communiverse, an intergalactic organization where he's mistaken for Earth's ambassador. Now he has to navigate this new alien world, forge connections with diverse extraterrestrial beings, and ultimately discover his true identity and purpose. Nobody is watching this movie, and despite what all the incels online might have you think, the real reason no one's watching this is because Pixar is outdated. And let me clarify, I don't think that means this movie looks bad. I actually think it looks really good. The problem is that it's just so cemented in this Pixar style that people have gotten tired of. Listen, ever since Into the Spider-Verse ushered in this new form of animation, a lot of studios have been following suit, but Pixar seems to be just stuck in their ways. And this isn't helped by them using the same style on their Disney Plus shows, or with their weird releases that they're doing, where some Disney Plus shows become full-fledged movies, and then movies made for theaters are just shot down back to Disney Plus. It's just diluting the theatrical experience and making audience feel like they can just wait for streaming. You've also probably heard a lot about the lack of promotion for this movie, and I do want to talk about that, but first let's get into the actual review. So like I said, I really loved this movie. Elio's great, not just as a protagonist, but just as a kid you want to root for. When we meet him, he's very guarded, he's lonely, he's grieving. Elio's just this very misunderstood kid who, especially after his parents died, just feels like there's no one left to try to understand him. And this is shown really well with his relationship with his aunt, where you can see they don't really understand what the other is going through. When a kid wants to do something as terrifying as get abducted by aliens as an escape, you just know that's some S-tier loneliness. But this movie really takes off when he gets into space. Pun unintended. When he gets to the Communiverse, it's actually everything he could have ever imagined. It was the place where he feels accepted. Then the movie elevates that feeling even more by introducing this character Glorden, who very quickly becomes Elio's best friend. And I'm being serious, this is one of the best, most adorable on-screen friendships I've seen in a long time. In a surprisingly short amount of time, Pixar crafts this deeply believable bond that not only drives the second half of the film, but is one of the movie's biggest takeaways. Also, I need to shout out the music. The music in this movie is so nostalgically sci-fi. In the first 5 seconds, you notice it immediately. Listen, as much as I enjoyed myself with this movie, I would be lying if I said I didn't have a couple gripes. I feel like this alien citadel felt very small. When Elio arrives, they kind of give him this grand tour of everything, and the place really just felt like a dope theme park more than this intergalactic space commune. Also, the aliens we meet there are not as fleshed out as they could have been, but I keep going back and forth on that because on one hand, the linearity kind of gives us more time to spend with Elio as a character, but on the other hand, it definitely shrinks down the scope of the movie. But something that was undeniably bad was the lack of promotion for this film. Look at this TikTok I found.
Stop complaining that Disney doesn't make original stories if you don't show up to movie theaters and support them in the first place. Oh. Anyways, there's a new original story. Look at that. From Disney Pixar called Elio. Okay, great. Pixar understands that people want new ideas. But how are people supposed to know about these new ideas if you don't tell them? Meanwhile, you couldn't go 2 seconds online or in person without seeing Lilo and Stitch plastered everywhere. I get it, Stitch is a proven moneymaker for Disney, but you couldn't spend a little bit of that energy towards Elio? I remember seeing a teaser for this movie ages ago, and then after that, it was just radio silent. And I know there were some changes that were made to the film, but still, it just feels like they killed their own hype. A similar thing happened with Turning Red, where I remember seeing a teaser for that in theaters thinking oh, this actually looks cool and original and something new from Pixar, and then they just sent it off to Disney Plus. I mean, thankfully people caught on to how good of a movie that was, and Disney as a company seems to have fully embraced that. So I'm just here to do my part and say go see Elio. And you know what, one last thing. Myself, like many of you, have probably seen Jeremy John's review of this movie, and towards the end he says this.
I went to Elio, it was in 3D anyway. I was like, $15 for matinee. That's not counting concessions, that's just if you sneak in your snacks, which, let's be honest, if you're a family of 4, $60. Is it worth $60?
And while I totally agree that cinema costs have gotten absolutely crazy, this is not the movie to make that argument on. There's these 3 big family movies out in theaters right now, and one of them is a soulless remake originally meant for streaming. The second is another remake that is good but adds nothing to the original, and the third is an original idea with tons of heart. I'd say Elio is by far the most worth it. Anyway, if you made it to the end, please subscribe. Okay, love you, bye.